The legends were real. The stories were wilder. And now it's time to talk about it. This is Wrestling Real Talk. And now your hosts, A.T. Huck and Rude Boy.
Wrestling Real Talk. Here we are once again. It's another week. It's another time for our favorite sport, the king of all sports. That's right, professional wrestling. And myself, Rudy Hill, a.k.a. Rude Boy, along with my partner in crime, the one and only legend, that's right, former ECW senior referee A.T. Huck is, as he's my partner, and he's joining me today again. And man, coming off of a great, beautiful day here in the Motor City. And you know what? Positive vibes. But you know how it is. It's wrestling, you know, so we might throw a jab here and there, or we might have to throw a knockout.
Hey, that's what it's all about. We're Wrestling Real Talk. We're not holding back on the subjects that we do talk about. And, man, like you said, it was a great, beautiful day. You know, great Father's Day weekend.
Man, it was.
You know, for me, you know, a little solitude up on the lake. But, man, it's beautiful, man, up there. You know, so, yeah, man, got back just in time to turn on the TV. So I did get to watch a little wrestling.
So did I. I watched it.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I was really happy to see my girl Bailey is back.
Bailey
is back. Oh,
Bailey's back. Is that what you said?
Bailey's got back.
She's got back.
Hello. Oh. I love Bailey, man. I think she's, you know, I watched a documentary on her once, and she paid her dues on the indies.
Yeah, man, and I watched her come up through NXT. You know, she had some of the best matches, you know, when she was down in NXT, and man, she's been on the main roster for quite some time now.
And you know, in later years, like especially now, she's for the women. She's a ring general.
Yeah, she is. She is.
Really
She can lead some of these new girls.
Absolutely.
You know, around the ring, and they need that. You should always have a veteran, you know, on your roster.
That's why I always said that they, to me, dropped the ball on Natalya.
Mm-hmm. Well, Natalya's still around.
Yeah,
I think she does more than we realize.
Yeah,
you know, in the back.
I'd like to see her get more, you know, love.
Yeah,
you know.
I've been listening to her quite a bit on Busted Open.
Oh, really?
You know, she's on there now, you know,
okay.
with Bubba Ray.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so
that's the reason why I can't listen to it.
Because of Bubba Ray, you don't like
man,
Bubba.
Man, that guy's full of shit, man. Yeah, I said it. But he also does have some points. But anyways, I'd rather not hear his opinion. I'd rather hear fact. And, you know, that's why I listen to Jim Cornette.
Jim Cornette. Jim tells it like it is, or how he sees it.
Well,
you know?
and he and I, we see professional wrestling about the same way. Mm-hmm. We still love Georgia Championship.
Oh, well, you know what I'm all about, Georgia Championship
we
wrestling.
Still love Memphis.
Yeah, Mid-Atlantic,
we
you know.
We still love, Continental.
Mm-hmm,
you know, we still
big time, you know.
Big time.
You know, that, you know, though the territory days for me were my favorite times in wrestling.
Absolutely.
You know, the territory days by far. You know, the magazines, the way they covered wrestling. You know, I wish they would go back to that because they enhanced what you watched.
Absolutely.
You know, when you got the magazines, whether it was real or not. You know, that's what we, you know, thrived on, to see those magazines and see the lineups, Pacific Northwest and Florida and AWA and Puerto Rico.
Yeah, you see the top 10.
Yeah. And some guys you'd never seen before, but you knew their names.
You knew their names.
So when you did see them, it was like, oh, man, you know.
You know,
that was a good time.
That reminds me, there was a wrestler that I always read about throughout the 80s, you know. And he never was a big star, but in the magazines they made him out to be a big star. And he came on an NWA show here at Cobo or Joe Louis, and he was on the undercard, and his name was Wendell Cooley.
Oh, Wendell Wildcat Cooley.
Yes,
I remember that.
yes.
Yeah, he was down there in Continental.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I always read about him. And he finally came to Detroit, and I popped
You were
for
excited,
it, man,
right,
you know,
right.
by reading the magazine.
Exactly. Had never seen him before. I've seen him in years since then.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he had a pretty good match against Ric Flair I just saw maybe a month ago.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was from Continental down there.
I'm gonna
You know,
have to
the
look
Fullers were there, and Gordon Soley was doing the announcing. It was great, man.
My goodness, man.
Yeah,
My
Continental.
goodness.
Yeah, very underrated promotion. Adrian Street was there.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody came through Continental, just about.
Psycho Sid came through there. That was his first stop as Lord
Humongous.
Yes,
Yes, I remember that.
Before we go any further, we do want to remind you that today's show, as always, is being brought to you by Taqueria El Rey, right there in Southwest Detroit on Bagley, right near the Ambassador Bridge. Best chicken, best tacos. Go in and say hi to Danny and the crew. Tell them that Wrestling Real Talk sent you, and he'll tell you all about all of the delicious food that they have to offer there. And by the way, Taqueria El Rey will also be at the next International Big Time Wrestling event at Batch Brewery on Saturday. That's right, Saturday, July the 19th, 7:30 p.m. bell time. And Taqueria El Rey will be serving up some tacos and some good chicken. And at Batch Brewery, you know how they do it. It's always great hospitality. It's a family fun atmosphere. And get your tickets right now. They are on sale right now for, man, $10, man. You can't go nowhere for $10,
man.
bro.
$10 and great food too.
Yeah, right.
And a great atmosphere. It's a great place to run shows.
Oh yeah.
You know,
people are gonna enjoy it.
And then starting at 7:30, it'll still be light.
Yes.
Until close to 10 o'clock.
Oh yeah.
You know, but still you have that evening feel.
Oh yeah.
You know, and people stayed throughout the whole show the last time.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
a good,
Oh, yeah.
good event. I enjoyed myself.
It's going to be an awesome show. We have a dynamite lineup coming for that. The day before that, we will be featured at the Keyworth Stadium in Hamtramck, Michigan, as a part of the DFC. Is it DFCF? DCFC, which is Detroit Football League, and I don't know what it stands for. I'm terrible at these things.
Me
man.
too, man. I can never remember those.
But I'll tell you what, it's the Detroit Football League.
Oh, it was great, man.
We
and for
went-
you American soccer,
Yes,
you know.
yes. It's soccer, but I got to tell you something on a high level, and the atmosphere is just amazing. And they brought. Well, actually, we're teaming with the Football League, and we are bringing International Big Time Wrestling to the event on Friday, July the 18th, and that's a 6 p.m. bell time. Doors open at 5 p.m. And get your tickets right now because them things sell out. Really
Well, I
quick.
understand this is a national broadcast.
National broadcast on ESPN.
On ESPN.
Against Pittsburgh, which is one of their rival teams. So that should be great. And we invite you to come on out for that. That's going to be an awesome time. But once again, our final sponsor right here and is one that's near and dear to our hearts, of course, it is Throwdown Theatre. That's right. Check out throwdowntheatre.com right now. Check out all the collections as far as T-shirts go, as far as memorabilia goes, as far as all of the hookups that anything that you need for the wrestling fan in your life. That's right. You can get it at one stop at Throwdown Theatre. Or if you just want to stop by, check out the videos, enjoy the classic videos that's provided by one of the men sitting next to me in his collection of over 35 years.
Yeah. Starting back in the early 80s. You know, every opportunity I got, I popped in a VHS if I saw wrestling coming on. And my wife, Esther, she would say it didn't matter where we were. When Saturday night's main event came on, you were there at 11:30, no matter where we were going earlier in the day. So I have tapes from there. I have tapes from Georgia, Pacific Northwest, big time wrestling, Florida, just an independent promotions that you wouldn't believe.
Oh my God.
You know,
man.
so just so much stuff that you can see on Throwdown Theatre. So go check it out.
One of the cool things that one of the recent episodes on Throwdown Theatre is Irish Mickey Doyle against Bobo Brazil. And it was a part of Coach Kurt's wrestling. And I think it was at the Detroit
I think it was the DRC.
DRC, yeah. Was
you know, the year was a little
bit
before that was it was listed on there.
Yeah.
Because I think that match actually took place before we got in the business.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so it was probably like 90. Wow. It's listed as 92, but I think it was older than that.
Yeah.
Because I would remember that. You know, Mickey Doyle's a heel against Bobo Brazil.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
Oh, you weren't there?
No, I was there.
You were at that one.
I was there.
So am I correct as far as the year?
I don't. I
From
your
remember, you can't remember that?
I really can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't. But I'll tell you what, I do remember. I do remember one thing that there was maybe, I don't know, 100 people in the whole stands. So it was empty. It was empty. It was a spot. But I do remember that the show, the guys all went out there and put on the best that they could.
Yeah, I saw Iron Mike Anthony and
the Riot Squad.
The Riot Squad, right.
So, folks, if you're wondering what we're talking about, go right over to Throwdown Theatre or go over to Throwdown Theatre at YouTube and subscribe, like, do all of that cool stuff, and enjoy all of the full wrestling that we can give you through Throwdown Theatre.
There's some of the stuff nobody has.
It's true.
You know, you can't YouTube these matches and see them somewhere
and
else.
they also come from Supermouth Dave Drayson's personal archives. And let me tell you something. His stuff is real rare because most of it is done on a VHS camcorder.
Yeah, one of those camcorders.
Yeah.
Right. You know? And then his photographs.
Oh, my God.
He has some of the most legendary pictures in the history of professional wrestling.
They are the ones that are featured.
Not just from Detroit, but he has them from L.A.
They are the ones that are featured for the wrestling trading cards.
Exactly.
The official wrestling trading cards through Throwdown Theatre. Once again, go check out Throwdown Theatre. Check them out and do all of that cool stuff. Again, we invite you to do that because Throwdown Theatre is the shit.
What you got for me tonight, Rudy?
Man,
let's go.
I got to tell you something, man.
Let's go.
Okay, so our last conversation we had about when wrestling got real in the dressing rooms, that posed a question from Eric in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Now, Eric wants to know, that was the one incident each that we chose. There must have been hundreds, is what he said.
Must have been more.
So why stop at one? And that started to remind me of some of the not physical fights that happened, but where they got weird and
heated.
altercation. Yeah.
It got a little heated.
Right. And I was a part of some of that stuff. And, I was there. My two eyes witnessed it myself. Teddy Hart kicking CM Punk's ass.
Oh, you were there.
At TNA, I was 10 feet from it, man. I was like, man, bravo, Teddy Hart.
He took it to him, huh?
Bravo, Teddy Hart, man. Oh, he turned out to be something different.
Oh yeah. He was always almost there.
Yes.
Something always stopped it.
And
Let me go back. It was a little strange because we were on the show with him at the gathering.
Yes.
And he was kind of weird, man. He had his cat. And he would just sit his cat in the turnbuckle.
Yes.
And the cat wouldn't move. I was like, what the heck is going on here?
Right. Let me tell you something, though. Out of all of the people that I've dealt with at the gathering and through JCW while I was booking, Teddy Hart was the easiest to deal with.
Yeah, he was cool.
I didn't have to do nothing. I had to say, Teddy, I need you here. This is when I need you. And I said, Teddy, where do you want me to send the plane ticket? And he said, no, don't worry about it, boss. I'll drive in and I'll give you the receipts for the gas.
Cool.
And I was like,
yeah, I was, I didn't know what to expect. I was like, man, Teddy Hart's on the show. So I was a little leery.
Yes.
But, sitting there, we talked, and he was a cool dude. And I was like, was it somebody, they must provoke him, something.
And then he got these sexual allegations against him and, just really, really sour. And really, to be honest with you, he was probably one of the better hearts of them all.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, real talk. To me, the order goes Owen, Teddy, Brett.
You think so?
That's
Teddy. To me, his style was more of a current style.
Yes.
Brett and Owen were more, a classic 80s.
They were more traditional
90s wrestlers.
Yes.
Where Teddy was, you could see him on an indie show.
Yes.
And tear it up against whoever.
Yes. Yes.
Where Brett and Owen didn't do that. They went right from Calgary.
Right.
To the WWF.
Right. But that's what I feel about, the Hearts. Like, Teddy, he could have, and I don't know if it was maybe drugs or, some, because man, what a gifted athlete. What a gifted fucking athlete, man. And for a guy like that to be wasted talent breaks my heart, man.
Yeah,
for real.
So you put Owen first. Did you ever get to see any of the other Harts? Did you ever see Stu?
I did.
I've seen some Stu Hart matches, and Stu was a technical wizard, and a shooter, And then I saw was it Bruce Hart? I saw Bruce Hart on some of these tapes, but who was that in Hawaii that the Sheik burned?
That was Keith Hart.
Keith Hart. And the Sheik burned him before he could stick his hand in.
Before he could do anything. Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah, I do. Neidhart is not a brother,
but he is family.
He is family,
And he was a tough son of a gun, man. And let me tell you something, underrated, man, because he carried Brett for a lot of the early years in that team.
Well, you know what? I saw Jim the Anvil Neidhart versus Bret Hart at Cobo Arena.
It was
there. Before they teamed.
Was there, yes.
Yeah.
And they tore the house
You're right.
down.
And it was like, Bret was kind of frustrating him. Neidhart was like, who's this kid? Hanging with me. Not long after that, they were the Hart Foundation.
They teamed him up and they put him with Jimmy Hart.
Right.
And the rest was history.
Oh, yeah. Historic team.
But let's go back to you now, Huck.
Okay. Well, during my time in ECW, I saw quite a bit.
Okay, yes.
Let's shoot. This particular match was at the Michigan State Fairground.
Here in Detroit. Now, I
refereed the match. It was the one-man gang against Balls Mahoney.
I was there.
You were there at the State Fairground. But apparently, the one-man gang got a little stiff with his chair shots.
Okay.
And Balls Mahoney was down on the mat, maybe on his stomach or back, I'm not sure. But the one-man gang just waffled him several times, stiff with the chair. So after the finish and we get to the locker room, Balls Mahoney is sitting in the chair, and I walk in and he's bitching, complaining about, the one-man gang and, like pissed, like he's ready to fight. So I was like, damn, I didn't want shit to go off. I should have just not said shit. But Tommy Dreamer was walking by, and I was like, man, you better go check on them, man. It might get a little heated. And he was like, I don't give a fuck. And I was like, okay. So somebody must
like
have...
a typical dick.
Yeah, somebody must have said something because I didn't say anything to the one-man gang. But he walked right into the dressing room. It was like, you got a problem? To Balls Mahoney. Balls just didn't say nothing. Like a little puppy dog, man.
He sat down.
Yeah, he sat down, chilled out, but yeah, the one-man gang was about to get with him.
Yeah.
Because somebody else said it. I wouldn't sat down, but where I could see.
Right.
But that was one.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, I was as a promoter, you always get caught in some awkward situations.
Yeah.
And I was approached by my champion, who his name was Alcatraz.
Mm-hmm.
And people know him through some of the things that we blessed him with, and he forgot all about. But fuck him anyway. But anyways, he came to me after a show. He had a match with Tex Monroe. And everyone knows that Tex is one of the toughest son of a bitches alive.
Mm-hmm.
Tex is tougher than leather, bro. And let me tell you, this is 15 years back, right? Maybe, Carlito? Maybe even more. And so Tex was even more crazy then. A little more younger.
Yeah, he was younger.
Right. So he was a lot stiff. And I never had a grown man come to me and pull me into my office at the hall and say, Rudy, did you have him shoot on me like that?
Really?
Like, I was like, what the fuck did you just say to me, man? He said, man, did you have him shoot on me, man? Because let me look at me and blah, blah, blah. I was like, man, you sound like a bitch-ass motherfucker right now, man.
Tex was laying him in, huh?
Tex walked in. I was like, hey, Tex, you want to tell him that I didn't have you shoot on him? He was like, brother, I don't shoot on nobody. What the fuck you talking about? And then the Tex was like, fuck him anyway, and walked out. And it's true. So it was an awkward moment, but it was more awkward between him and I because I'm like, what the fuck? First off, who are you accusing of this shit? Because if I got a problem with you, I'll tell you to your face.
Like you sent a hit out on him, huh?
No shit. Right.
Well, that was a long time ago. Why would he think that,
Right. Anyways.
Did we talk about the incident in Indiana with the Sheik? The Sheik and that other Sheik dude?
We did talk about
We talked about that. Okay.
We did indeed.
But I got it. Since I said it, some people may not have heard, but we were on a show in Indiana. Sabu was on the show. Yukon Moose Sholak was sitting in the audience, what very little audience it was. But we hear this commotion in the Sheik and was it the Animal?
The Animal,
Howard the Animal. George the Animal still
Howard
rip
the Animal,
off.
man, he was a lookalike. He looked exactly.
He did
like him,
look
though.
just like George Steele.
Shit. When people seen him, they were like, "Oh my God, George Steele's here," and he wouldn't say nothing.
Yeah, but he didn't. He wasn't as in shape as George was.
Right. That and he has so much gold.
Yeah,
Remember that shit?
Yeah, I
He
do.
looked like Mr.
But
T,
anyway,
man.
they get this unknown Sheik character, whatever his name
Mystery
was,
Sheik,
the
yeah.
Mystery Sheik. He was here as the Red Lumberjack, I think.
Right.
But they get this dude into the office, and the Sheik pulls out his blade. Said, "Look, motherfucker, you stop imitating me or telling people that you team with me."
Right.
And that's what it was about. Never saw that dude again.
Never seen him again. That dude was MIA and never
Forever.
heard from once again in wrestling.
Unless he changed his name and all of that,
which is possible,
which is a possibility. But he was never around the shows that we were on anymore.
Exactly, and shit.
I would have disappeared too.
Right, shit.
The Sheik.
Have the Sheik put a blade on you, man. Shit, Yeah, that's one of those times where you're just, where you're, because I remember everyone cleared out of that dressing room, man.
Yeah,
I just
we got
remember
the hell out of there. We were like, what's going on?
Simultaneously just got up and was like, all right. We're gonna tell our last weird story or incident that has happened in our career, and we're gonna put a bow on this episode of Wrestling Real Talk. And once again, man, I want to thank the fans, man, because they've been showing out and showing love, man, and that's great. And once again, tell your friends and family about Wrestling Real Talk.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I had somebody pull up to me today, one of my neighbors down the street, and she said that she's been listening and that she plans that she was coming to Taqueria El Rey.
Yes.
That's what she told me. But she said she couldn't make it, but she'll be at one of the next shows.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
I was like, cool. Cheryl Thomas is her name.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
That was cool.
Miss Cheryl Thomas, thank you for the love and support. And we'll see you in July.
That's right, we will.
Okay,
but you said we had some more stories.
One last one.
One last one?
One last
Ooh.
one. Pull it out. One last
This is
good
something
one.
I've been holding in my pocket. It wasn't really an altercation, so maybe I should save this one. It wasn't an altercation, but it was a interesting situation
Well, there you go.
that people is really a deep cut and one that is real for Wrestling Real Talk.
Well, get down, James Brown.
I went on a little drug run one time.
Ooh.
Yeah, man, it's, a little controversial. And, I've bounced around several times about telling these stories that only I know, that I might be the only remaining person there that was part of the scenarios.
Okay.
And some of it is like, a little personal.
Right.
But this is, like you said, this wasn't a altercation in the dressing room or anything like that. It was just a weird scenario that I was a part of.
Okay.
And I went on a drug run. Yeah. Wait
a minute. How don't I know? I've known you 30 plus years and I didn't know you.
But I thought I told you this
run.
story
No.
before, I thought. But it was your patriarch and my patriarch and the Monroe's patriarch, Sweet Daddy Malcolm Monroe. And Malcolm, was from the hood. He lived on Linwood and Elmhurst, right in the hood.
Yes.
So, he wasn't inclined to do, certain things for some money sometimes.
I got you.
So he said, we're going to meet the Sheik. I got something to take him. And I was like, okay. He didn't even tell me what it was, So we got there, we drove. Where was it? Man, I can't remember exactly where it was. But we pull up and the Sheik is sitting in a Cadillac. And next to him is New York Raymond.
What?
Now you can see New York Raymond on I Like to Hurt People. He's on Like to Hurt People with Dusty Rhodes, The Sheik is gonna get you.
He's going to get you.
Right, New York Raymond. But anyway,
He's gonna burn you.
The Sweet Daddy hands the Sheik the tin foil. And the Sheik puts it in his hand and he's like, I can tell this isn't what you said it was. Like it was light,
Right.
But yeah, man, I did that. But the Sheik didn't like the fact that I was there. He's like, why'd you bring him with you? I didn't want him to know that about this. I was like, oh, don't worry about it. It's cool, whatever, man, like that. But yeah, that was a weird scenario that I was a part of that I didn't know I was going to be a part of.
Let me tell you something. That right there is like that story right there. There's been stories written about the Sheik and his life story, And right there, that trumps every fucking
It does, man. And,
story.
the Sheik, before his matches, man, he would go in private and take his little toot. The match with him and Bobo Brazil, he did right before the match.
Where was that?
Azteca Hall.
We were in there?
Yeah, Azteca Hall.
All right,
yeah,
all right.
yeah,
Wow.
he did in there. I don't know how he told, he tell me.
Right.
So I just do it, to get going.
Yeah.
He actually
man.
talked. That's what I said. The Sheik, for whatever reason,
I'm
treated me like he knew me. You know?
But I'm not judging
me
nobody.
either. It's
man.
just a story that, like I said, that if I never tell it, it's just gone.
You know what?
It's gone.
Like you said, we enjoy our jazz cigarettes and stuff.
Exactly. I think we're getting ready real soon. But yeah, man, that was just and I was torn about telling it. So if somebody's offended by it, I apologize, but stories need to be told.
Well, what are you apologizing for? The truth?
Well, but a lot of people get personal about things.
I got you.
Or get offended by certain things, even the truth.
Yeah.
They get offended by the truth.
Okay, so I have one, man. Yours is so much way fucking better than mine, man. Holy shit. Mine is like, all right, good night, everybody. Wow.
You didn't know I was pulling that one out the pocket.
That was a woo-wee right there, man. Shit. Yes. That one is going to make headlines. And, yeah. Anyways, so, I've been promoting for years and years and years. And, I was brought up with the Sheik, and I was brought up with Al Costello and Chris Carter and all of these greats, and they showed me how to promote Sweet Daddy Malcolm Monroe. I followed and put up the posters and did all of the hard labor and work and all of that stuff. And the only thing that was ever asked from me, and while doing all of that, is to always remain loyal.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you learn in this business, is to be loyal, especially to the person that is giving you something or giving you. Look, here's the deal. There was a young kid that came to me and said, hey, Rudy, I'd really like to wrestle, blah, 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 blah. Good looking kid, and I had a luchador mask.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, the way you wrestle is like a luchador, bro. And what would you think about being a luchador, man? I need a heel luchador. And he was like, I says, we'll give you a tryout, see how it works and stuff, and in front of the crowd. And God, what was that kid's name? Damn it! No, but what was his name? You don't remember?
Nick Moss?
No.
Okay.
This is way before.
Oh, before that.
Yeah. This was in the Palomino days. So you're looking at like 2008-ish, 2007. Yeah. Anyways, so I give this kid this great gimmick. We work with him. He works out good. He's El Diablo Loco. And he comes in as a heel, but everyone loves him. So he's a baby face. So the only thing I ask him is, if you go work somewhere, go work, but don't use the mask. Don't do that, And what the fuck does he do? He does the mask.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the problem, Huck. Not only did he do the mask, but he did it a block, maybe 3 blocks from our building at another building on another show.
Right. After you build him up, right?
So here's what the fuck I did. I said, all right, we're going to bring him back. We brought him back as normal as usual. Brought him in for a match, and I told his opponent, I said, hey, you get Maynard.
Mm.
I said, Maynard, you get out of the ring. while you're wrestling him, when you see Drew come out of the curtain, my brother Drew, Southwest Drew, Aztec Warrior, whatever you want to call him, that day he was taking care of IBW business.
Mm-hmm.
And he went in there whoa, see, you already got people calling you about that controversial.
I know already.
Controversial story.
I'm good at blocking numbers though. But go ahead.
Anyway, so yeah, fuck yeah, man. And we got a lot of blocking to do because some of the fucking disrespect I've seen at these local shows, motherfuckers. Anyways, so I said Maynard he gets out when he sees Drew coming. And Diablo's like, what's going on? And Drew got him.
Oh.
And Drew got a hold of him. And we took the mask off in front of everyone.
Oh, right in front. Oh,
right
wow,
in front
that's
of
crazy.
everyone, exposed him, threw him out of the fucking building, out of the front door with his luggage. Told him, get the fuck out of here.
With his luggage.
Right. Well, you know.
Haven't seen him since, huh?
You know how these fools do. They're rolling through like they're O.J. Simpson on the old luggage commercials and shit. But yeah. Anyways, so yeah, we had to do it old school.
Mm-hmm.
We had to do it old school, and you know what? Old school is you know what? Not so bad, man. When you gotta handle business.
Mm-hmm.
You know. I've seen promoters have guys go out there and whip some ass, man, you know. And then I've seen guys come in the dressing room and whip some ass, you know. We've seen stories and stories and stories. I'm sure throughout we're definitely gonna we're gonna be telling more stories, war stories. If
Oh
you
yeah.
will.
Oh yeah.
But this is gonna do it for Wrestling Real Talk. Of course, we invite you to check us out, Throwdown Theatre. Tell your friends and family. A.T. Huck, any final words would you like to say to the wrestling fans of the world before everyone's pissed at you?
Hey, they shouldn't be pissed. They got a good story tonight.
Damn right.
They got something new that they had never heard before.
Jaw-dropping.
Jaw-dropping. And that's what Wrestling Real Talk is all about.
That's
right.
You know,
so if you have some questions, if you want to send them in, if you pissed at me, go ahead and let me know.
Right.
Because I'll answer you, you know, and that's what we're all about. Your opinion is important to us, you know, and we look forward to hearing from you.
And you know what? Anyone who disputes any of these stories, fucking come to us because we'll set you straight.
Yeah, we'll tell you just like it is. That's what my mother used to say.
That's what
you know. So yeah, if you want to like, comment, subscribe to Throwdown Theatre and Wrestling Real Talk, feel free. That's what we want you to do. If you don't like something we said, let us know. You know, but I don't think Rude Boy cares.
I don't.
You know?
I really don't give a flying fuck. See, that's one of the things that. For the longest time, why I was such blacklisted in the areas and stuff, because I was a guy who didn't subscribe to kissing ass and doing all that shit. Fuck that. Fuck that. You tell it like it is. You do, you know, walk the walk, you know, like my father used to say. Anyways. Once again, thank you guys for joining us. You could be anywhere in the world, but you decided to join us, and we don't take that lightly, and we're so thankful for you. Thanks to Bobby Rocks. Thanks to Santana Hill. Thanks to Carlito Hill, who have ran the show for us tonight. And thanks to you guys for listening. And like we always say, and we always mean it, you know we're not here for a long time. We're here for a good fucking time. Be good to one another, take care of one another, and always peace and love from God above.
Peace.